So a while back, I had a gentleman kind of walk up to me and ask me a question that started along the lines of, this person is doing this thing and they're doing it out in public, and what are you going to do about it? And essentially what they were asking was, how are you going to fix this person? As a pastor, I get questions like that occasionally. People seem to think that there's this idea that pastors have this supernatural ability to fix people. it's, we don't. It's almost like the idea that the newlywed couple gets together and the girl thinks that she's going to somehow fix her husband over time. It doesn't work. But somehow we seem to think that we should be able to do this. That a pastor standing up at a pulpit should somehow have magic words that can change the way people think and behave and act. Oh, I wish we did sometimes. But people are going to do what they choose to do. You cannot force somebody to change. You can't change somebody. And it's hard sometimes because we see people doing things that we don't like, that we disagree with, that we hate sometimes, whether they're doing it to themselves or to other people. And we want to fix them. But here's the hard thing, you can't. You can't change anybody, I can't change anybody. There's basically two people that can change somebody. One is they can choose to change themselves. And sometimes they do. But the other one is God. A lot of times when we see people doing things that we don't like, that we can't stand, we can't do anything other than say, okay, Lord, I'm going to have to give this to you, and I'm going to have to ask you to change them. We can change ourselves. We can set the example for what we should be and what they should be. But that's about the extent of the influence we can have. Now, as a parent, it's a little bit different because we do have the opportunity to mold and shape our children, not just with the way we live, but we can also train them and teach them. But not everybody gets that opportunity, and we can't do that to other people, especially not other adults. We can't do that to people online as much as we might want to. We can't force people into our box. Instead, we can love them. When somebody is doing something that drives you nuts, that you know is wrong, pray for them. We see it in politics from, there's always that other party we don't agree with, or that politician that gets up there and says something stupid or annoying or frustrating, or puts into action a plan that is just wrong in our minds. We've got to go fix them. Well, here's the reality. You can't. And unfortunately, most of our politicians, I think, are broken anyways. Pray for them. And don't just pray that God strikes them down dead like some of you do. Pray that God would give them wisdom. Pray that God would give them strength to make the right choices, that they would give them good advisors to do the right things, to steer them in the right direction. And then make sure that you're living worthy of what you're criticizing others. If you're talking about other people speaking mean and rude things, make sure you're not speaking mean and rude things first. If you're talking about people not being helpful, well, are you being helpful? You want people to improve. Are you improving? Are you helping others? It's easy for us to point a finger at other people and say, you shouldn't do this. But we need to remember that we need to be making sure that we fix ourselves. The Bible refers to it through a little illustration that Jesus talked about. He says, why are you trying to remove the speck from somebody else's eye when you've got a plank in your own? In other words, like a little dot of dust in your eye. A little dot of dust in their eye that you're trying to reach down with a pair of tweezers and pluck out. But at the same time, you've got this plank that's just filling up your face and you can't see or do anything because you are in such a mess yourself and you're wanting to nitpick other people, but you're really the issue. And that's what a lot of our issues are, is we've got planks in our eyes, but we're so busy trying to pick out specks. It's almost like that old comedy sequence where you see the people with the ladders or the long boards, and they're swinging it around, and other people are having to duck under it so they don't get hit in the head and smacked in the face by it. It's kind of what we're doing. So let's start working on the planks in our eyes. let's stop being critical and trying to fix others, and let's work on ourselves. Let's start being what we know we should be. Let's start doing what we should do. Let's start loving and being kind to other people, even if we don't know who they are, even if we disagree with them. Let's let God speak through us and change us first, and then hopefully He will use that to change other people.